So this is to let you know that there's going to be a recording. So if you have any question, you can take note of it. And then when we get to the questions and answers, we can take your questions. So Wiki for Human Rights, I believe some of you have heard about the campaign, and for some others, this is going to be something new. In today's presentation, we're going to learn about some of the lessons that we learned from last year's campaign and the topics that we're going to be focusing on this year and what you should be expecting if you want to be part of the campaign this year and important milestone. We also have a rep from the community resource team to talk to us about grants and support that you can receive for your event. So why Wiki for Human Rights? Why are we focused on right to a healthy environment? The whole aim of this campaign is to ensure that everyone has access to neutral, fact-based, and current information on topics about our right to a healthy environment. So let's look at what we learned from the campaign last year. Last year, the focus was still on right to a healthy environment. And this was launched in April 15th to May 15th. So we had the Global Rights in Context launched along with the whole campaign, and this lasted for a month. And this campaign, in partnership with the Wikimedia Foundation, United Nations Human Rights Office, and UN Environmental Program. Last year, we had great impact in that we saw more than 2,000 total articles created and translated or improved in over 30 languages. And we had more than 300 participants contributing to that. And there were a lot of local events, and that summed up to 27 local community events happening across the continent, which was great. And this year, we are looking to do more. So during the campaign, we heard a lot of interesting things from local organizers, individuals that participated, and that included they chancing upon unexpected partners because they realized that there were partners that were attracted to coordinate for them to organize their event because of the theme. They were interested in the campaign topic, and they also saw a number of newcomers enrolled in the campaign as well. And this was great because newcomers, most of these topics already existed, and so it needed newcomers to improve. And this was like basic edits, which really was encouraging for newcomers and easy for them to do. Communities also identified topics that were impactful and relevant to their context. This year, we've learned that we can do better. We want to be able to support local organizers to host their events. And so we provided mentorship opportunities for local organizers, especially new local organizers who want to organize events in their region. We also saw that organizers need better communication tools for topic areas. And so we're looking at building topic lists. We're also looking at ways to enhance communication around the campaign, looking at how we can get one-pager guides that describes the topics and focus areas, and also one-pager guides that can help them guide them to organize their events, such as webinars or holding an editathon and etc. We're looking at also enhancing communication around the campaign in terms of having videos that can enhance communication and easy for local organizers to use and circulate. We also saw that the writing content was kind of complicated. So this time we're looking at implementing a more simplified method of grading and also reporting. So why are we interested in right to a healthy environment this time again. Last year, the right to a healthy environment reached a new milestone in that the UN Human Rights Council declared that a right to a healthy environment is a human right. And that means a healthy ecosystem which enables us as humans to live in and which provides us with all the environmental services that we need. And this is connected to our right to water, our right to food, our right to housing and clean air. This is just to mention a few. To think of it, the environment is more like the cornerstone of all the other human rights that we have right now. For instance, we cannot have access to water and food if the environment is not functioning as it should. We cannot have food if biodiversity does not exist. And it's hard for us to make shelter or survive if climate is a threat. And a lot of people are dying as a result of pollution, and that includes animals. And the environment is one topic that connects to each and every one of us because it is our home and a home to billions of species that helps the environment to thrive. And we do not have a second home anywhere on this world. So the topic about environment is one that is very crucial. When we talk about the impact of climate change, it's impacting each and every one of us. And the impact of climate change puts everyone at risk, and that includes children. For instance, in many parts of the world, people are facing multiple climate-related impacts such as severe droughts, flooding, air pollution, water scarcity, leaving their children vulnerable to malnutrition and diseases. There's a statistics by the UN which has estimated that approximately 1 billion children are at the extreme high risk of the impact of climate changes. And this is really huge. Almost every child on Earth seems to be exposed to at least one of these climate and environmental hazards. And this is a crisis that threatens their health, it threatens their nutrition, their education, their development, their basic survival and future. Without an urgent action, these numbers are going to go high and many more children are going to suffer, which we don't want to see. So the reason why the right to a healthy environment is really crucial and very important is because the world is getting very complicated. And it's what the UN is calling the triple planetary crisis. And there are three major issues that comprise this. And we're talking about climate change, we're talking about pollution, we're talking about that biodiversity. So we've seen reports from Asia in different countries from Asia. And when you look at the Asia Pacific, they have experienced relentless and unpredicted climate-related disaster, especially in 2021, which severely is affecting more than 57 million people during the peak of the global pandemic. And again, it's been reported that in South Asia experienced the worst hits last year, with millions of people affected with multiple disasters as a result of climate change. In 2021 alone, we saw that natural disaster cost the Asia Pacific 50 billion US dollars, and just about 9 billion US dollars was covered by insurance. And so you ask yourself, who is paying for the rest of the 41 billion debt that has been caused as a result of natural disaster? We have no idea. And the number of people who continue to be affected by climate change continues to rise. In India alone, more than 18 million people have been severely impacted by flood and cyclones, according to 2021 data from India Government Disaster Management Division. And when we go to Bangladesh, more than 500,000 people have been swamped by flood, with hundreds of villages marooned for weeks at a time. And around 1/3 of Nepal have suffered flood and landslide, with many occurring outside of the traditional monsoon season. At the moment, Indonesia has been ranked the top third of countries in terms of climate risks, with high exposure to all types of flood and extreme heat. And this is very critical. So severe heats and droughts are impacting agriculture severely, as crops are not able to grow and water scarcity tend to be on the rise, and livestock are dying as a result. And when we look at the impact of climate change, it turns to affect more women. As you can see in the photo, if there's no water, a lot of women suffer as they have to travel miles to fetch water, just because they are the ones who usually take care of the homes and ensure that there's water and food for the family. And experts have also warned that India will likely face an irreversible impact of climate change as heat waves continue to increase along drought and erratic rainfall if no mitigation measures are put in place. Let's go to the migration slide. The slide with the map, sorry. I think slide 16. So, great. So it's interesting to know that disaster caused by climate change are displacing more people than conflict, reversing a historical trend, because in the past, people are migrating as a result of conflict, war, but now it's as a result of climate change and disasters that are happening around the world. As you can see, data from the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center have shown that there's a growing number of climate refugee crises as climate disasters continue to displace and force people to migrate within Africa, Asia, South Asia, and Latin America are said to be the major hotspots. If nothing is done about this, it has been estimated that by 2050, there's going to be about 200 to 1 billion. There's going to be about 1 billion, 200 to 1 billion total migration due to climate change, as we see on the screen. So this is an interesting tweet by a Canadian food researcher, and he tweeted 88 tweets just last year reporting about how climate change are hurting our food system right now. And these tweets were from different news portals that were being reported, and he retweeted them. And this is just what he collected. There are a lot of news happening about climate, the impact of climate change and how it's affecting the food system in our world. And this is going to affect all of us. And we are going to see food inflation, water scarcity, migration, and a lot of problems that are going to arise as a result if we do not do anything about it. So why am I talking about all this? This is not to say that you need to be down about it. We actually have a real opportunity as Wikimedians and as humans who want to advocate for our human rights and to change the story, change the narrative. And that is what this campaign is all about. And when you think about climate change or biodiversity or pollution, we want to talk about the human impact of the complexity and how we are working to address it as humans. So Wikipedia is a very good platform for talking about climate change. And just in the last 12 months, we have been getting increased press attention on this fact. And when you look at English Wikipedia in particular, we have been getting active climate editing community, improving content on climate topics. And this is intriguing. So what kind of scale are we talking about? We also know that English Wikipedia is not just a place where a lot of people or a lot of impact is happening. We have almost 26,000 climate related pages across all the Wikipedia. And these pages collectively have 320 million page views in a year. Probably the biggest source of communication on climate crisis in the world. And I haven't seen any platform attracting these huge number of views a year. Maybe you can prove me wrong, but I haven't seen any platform like Wikipedia has. We all know that climate change affects everyone, and it would include every human topics that affect our society, and it's connected to climate change. So with just climate change articles, we are seeing about 320 million page views in just a year, not to talk of all the other potential articles that we even tend to look at, like biodiversity, pollution, and all that. And if we want to combine all, this is going to be huge. And we've seen so much surges and attention on these topics as the news are being reported. Interesting here, we've seen that climate and environmental topics have been surprisingly good for newcomers. These topics have attracted newcomers, have brought new people into the movement. And it's because if we try to keep it simple and more basic, newcomers will be able to contribute to it. This picture you see on your screen was an event that was run in 2020, where we had about 100 newcomers participating and editing Wikipedia about climate crisis in Africa. And about 60 participants were able to edit. 60 new participants were able to edit, and we had the rest of them having like some skills before attending the event, editing skills before attending the event. So what are the gaps? What are the gaps? We know that there is some really huge gaps in non-English content. And there are about 26 articles on climate change, and only 3,500 of these articles are in English. And non-English content has a lot of gap because much of it was translated about 5 to 15 years ago, and not much of it has been actively worked on. And so this is a great opportunity to run campaign, to bring local attention to this local language areas on Wikipedia. As I said earlier on, we want to focus on the triple planetary crisis this year. All of the big issues, we are talking about climate change, we are talking about pollution, we are talking about biodiversity loss. So this year, like I said, okay, next page. So at the very basic, our health, our life, and our ability to live is impacted by pollution globally. Air pollution alone kills about 7 to 10 million people in a year, people who do not have to die. And this is a big problem. And in certain part of our world, like India, the pollution in cities and high population areas are really preventing people from doing their things that they need to do in their daily life. Because if there's pollution, you are ill, instead of you to go to work, you are in the hospital, you can't go to school. It's impacting our daily life drastically. This is not just about air pollution. We are talking about plastic pollution. We are talking about water pollution. And we found these interesting pictures from Wikilab Africa photos last year. And this is an indication that we have a lot of great content and storytelling already happening on high quality content on pollution topics. And topics like plastic pollution, air pollution are really relevant to the population and communities. The other one, which is a little more complicated, is the connection between humans and biodiversity loss. The human indigenous right, we're also looking at right to food, right to clean air and water. All these are being affected by the loss of biodiversity. So there's an organization that lists endangered species, and recently they identified that there are about 140,000 species that are in danger at the moment. Bird population, insect population are crashing, and this is a problem. And this is affecting a lot of things that we have to do in our daily lives. This time around, we want to spend some time looking at the human right of indigenous people, the right protected by treaties and other legal framework from indigenous people. It is important that we know that biodiversity is also connected to our livelihood. And as you can see from the picture on your left, this was a picture from Share Your Struggle campaign from India community. And on the right is a picture of farmers protesting. And all these are connected to biodiversity. We don't want to overly describe what you and your community should do. This is a big topic area. Human rights and environment is so huge. There's a whole lot of things that you can focus on, but I'm going to show you an example of topics that we are looking at you improving. So you can edit about cities. A lot of city articles do not have environmental topics covered. So this is a great opportunity. These environmental topics in cities, particularly urban areas, are being affected greatly by the impact. We can also write about public goods and infrastructures. We can also write about women climate activists, women researchers, environmental researchers, women who are playing role in our environment, or women who are impacted by climate, the effect of climate change. We can write about all these topics on women. We can also write about water bodies or organize a campaign around water. And water is one of the biggest environmental issues that we have right now. We can also write about the industries and businesses that are at the root of this problem. As you think about the topics that are important to your communities, you might want to look at where the environmental issues are and try to connect it. So that brings me to the end of my section. I would hand over to Imelda to take us through what we should be expecting in 2020.
So yeah, thank you, Ruby. So yeah, what to expect in 2022. So we encourage new and experienced content writers and editors to join the Global Writing Challenge from April 15th to the 15th of May. And you can also organize local events related to these campaigns. We also want you to innovate, like you don't just like rely on the things that we shared. You can also create your own, which also relates to climate change and anything about your environment, because we would love to know more about your communities. and we can also run editathons and international campaign with specific target articles. During the global content writing, we will be posting target articles, and you may improve or create during the last year's Wiki for Human Rights campaigns. There are those who run online activities, conducted educational talks on human rights, and did some tutorials on how to edit Wikipedia. So to attract more contributors, we can also run another writing contest on Wiki and invite speakers from outside the community that are experts on the subject matter. And how to report your event. Communities during the 2021 Wiki for Human Rights have able to report their events, and all of those are available on Meta for your guide. There are specific campaign tools we may use to help us generate statistics of our event results. An event page will be available on Meta, and everyone from different part of the world that may want to join the international campaign. So if you want some support on how to do your reporting, our team and other volunteers of the Wiki for Human Rights are here to help you guide on your organizing your event. And about the local writing contest, we invite again the experienced and new editors, and the on-wiki registration for this year will be open in March, and we are going to devise a new reporting point system for the international challenge, because I think we thought last year's pointing system is kind of complex. So right now we are devising a new simple way on how we are going to make our points easier, so that more organizers and more editors will be enjoined to participate in the campaign. Also, there will always be prizes and certificates, and the event will be again on April 14th to May 15th of this year. Important timeline for activities are there are different regional events that supports organizers. It is available on the diff post that we shared, and we will again share it on email after the talk. And we will launch the campaign on April 14th, and we will be having another webinar on the 22nd of April. And how to get support. You can always attend any of the office hours that Ruby and her team is doing, and you can also write to campaigns at wikimedia.org and join the Wiki for Human Rights Telegram group. Also, we would like you to join the Twitter for the Wikimedians for Sustainable Development and the Telegram group of these editors. And to give us more about on what supports we can get, I think we can call in Miss Jacqueline Chen.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much to Ruby and Imelda for letting me have this space to share with you about our grants program. There are many of you on the call that probably have had experience applying for the Rapid Fund grant, so I won't go into very much details. What you need to know are a couple of things. So one is the website where you can apply and find out more about the Rapid Funds. So that's the link on Meta that's highlighted on the slide. The second thing would be the contact person. Oh wait, hang on. Yeah, I'll add in the details later. Okay, the contact person, that will be me. And I'll share my email address in the chat in a bit. And the third thing, just broadly about Rapid Funds, is that it's it's for fast funding and for short projects, and you can get funding between 500 to 5,000 US dollars. The type of projects we support, it really varies, and it can apply to, for instance, campaign editathons, photo walks. So it's not necessarily just editathons. And finally, I will also open it up to any other participants who have had experience applying for Rapid Fund grants. So I saw a couple of familiar names that would be Jusan, Anthony, Imelda, Wafik. So if you would like to find out more, and some of them are online as well, you can have them also share about their experiences. Okay, thank you, and over back to you, Imelda.
Yes, thank you for that, Jacqueline and Ruby again. Now we proceed to questions and answers. If you have, it is time to ask questions as because I think Jacqueline will be leaving in a few minutes because of other commitments. So please feel free to ask your questions. Ruby, do you have anything additional that you can add?
Okay, so it looks like we don't have questions at the moment. So I'll proceed with some of the things that we want local organizers to take note for this year's campaign. So I'm going to be sharing my screen to take you through. Okay, so let me get the meta page open. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I want everyone to be comfortable. Please, if you have questions, feel free to ask. This is it's supposed to be an interactive section. So we want to also hear from local organizers, want to hear from individuals who are interested. So if you have any particular question, please feel free to ask. So I'll be taking you through some things that you should know. If you're joining as a local organizers, we want you to take note of this section. So if you go to the Wiki for Human Rights meta page, I believe Imelda will share the link to the meta page. You see organize. So this section has to do with individuals or groups that want to host an event as part of the campaign. When you go to that event, we want you to create a dashboard. That's if your event requires that you track contributions. I think one of the best tracking tools that we've had is the event metric dashboard. So if you open this, we've created a program for Wiki for Human Rights. And when you get to, sorry, let me see, there's something on my screen. When you get to the program, sorry, let me see. When you get to the program, you're supposed to create your dashboard. I don't know why it's displaying differently, but you're supposed to create your program dashboard as part of the campaign. Oh, I'm not logged in. So let me try and log in. Okay, so let me log in. So you log in. Oh, okay. So let me go back. to the meta page. Let's see if I can. So if you open the Wiki for Human Rights campaign, you will see that it would allow you, there's supposed to be a green button here. I don't know if it's because I'm not logged in. I'm not able to create it, but I don't know if Imelda, you can log in to see. I think I have a problem with my IP at the moment. But it's going to allow you to create your program as part of this campaign. So if you'd see, I think at the moment, 7 people have created their program. So this helps us to track all the events that are happening around this particular program, which is the Wiki for Human Rights campaign. So another thing, so if you're interested, if you need to create a dashboard, you can go to the meta page and look at the section, and then you can create your dashboard. Another thing that we want you to take note is join community event section. When you get to the join community event section, we are encouraging everyone to include their events on this section of the dashboard. So as you can see, we have 2 people who have inserted their events. So you just edit the meta page, and then you add your events to the table. So there's a section that says that add your item to the list, add a row to this page with visual editor. So if you're not familiar with the source editing interface, you can use a visual editor by just clicking this, and then it shows you. So you can see that people have started adding their events. So you can add your event. So we are looking at which language wiki are you targeting? Which kind of event are you hosting? Is it a virtual webinar, in person, online, a hybrid? You want to know the kind of event. Or if you just not sure yet, you can put a tentative event or something that you plan already. And which community are you targeting? We want to know where is your event page. So usually local organizers tend to create a localized event page that directs their audiences to those pages. And usually it's also good because those pages are more localized to the kind of events that is being organized in the local region, in that region or in the country. Then who is the coordinator? It's important because if people want to attend your event or participate in your event, they would want to talk to the coordinator, they want to reach out for more information. And also it's good for us because we also need to follow up on coordinators to measure the impact of the work for our reporting. And also we also want to know the date and time. So you can let us know the date and time in this section. I think people are putting something else there, but we want to know the date and time so that other people can know and be part. And then this last section here, we want to have the metric dashboard. So your tracking tools that you're using. So if you created from the event dashboard, we can insert the links here so that we can track the impact of your campaign that you're hosting. Once you're done, you just publish and then it would save. So I've demonstrated how you can add your events to the dashboard. So there are some basic questions that that are always being asked during the grants. So I believe that like Jackie said, most of us seem to be familiar with applying for grants. So if there are any specific questions regarding grants, you can have us know, but these are some of the basic questions that are usually asked during the grant application. So the good news about this company is that we have a bucket of funds dedicated for this event. And so if you're interested in organizing a local event, webinar, editathon, and you need funding, it's kind of much easier. But what we will entreat you to know is that this time around, it's taken about a month to get feedback or get your application reviewed before you start receiving funding. So we entreat you that if you're interested in organizing any local event and need support, you should start working on applying for your grant. And yeah, basically you should start working on applying for your grant. Also, we don't want to put anyone in a box. People want to start organizing their events as early as March. So if you want to start working on your event in March, you're welcome to do that. So we have March, April, and June. By June, all events should have been completed, and that is our the target duration. So if you want to host it earlier, it's good for us, but not beyond June, because we want to be able to start working on evaluating the campaign by July. So that brings us to the end of my practical section. I don't know if Imelda wants to say something, but with regards to the dashboard section, I think I had a little challenge. I don't know if you're able to open that section, but yeah.
Yeah, I can share. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I hope everyone can see that when you try to organize for
Oh.
this year, maybe you can join the international campaign, just add your program here and give the details, and then it will be tracked. It will be tracked for the entire event, and you will all of the statistics will be counted in general, and you will be part of a global campaign. And also, this is our contact information. Campaigns at wikimedia.org, and you can also join the Telegram channel. If you don't have any questions, I think this ends our presentation for today. Thank you everyone who joined us, and we are looking forward to having you as our organizers in the Wiki for Human Rights 2022.
So before we go, we will take a group picture, but I want to send a link to the Telegram channel. Imelda, do you have a link to the Telegram channel?
That's it.
Awesome. So we really appreciate each and every one of you who made it to today's event. We believe that it was insightful and great. So we like to take a group photo, if you don't mind. I'm gonna do that. So we can all on our, Imelda, can you help me with that?
Yeah, we'll try.
I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, we can.
1, 2,
Just a moment.
one more. 1, 2, sure. Thank you, everyone. Yay.
Thank you so much. And great to have you.
Have a great day.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.